Brothers and sisters, welcome to episode number 167. We're doing the scenes of the resurrection. Today's going to be about being spiritually bradycardic, being slow of heart. So we're walking through the scenes of the resurrection. We're mostly using John, but today we're going to go to Luke chapter 24, starting in verse 13. So why are we doing this? We're doing this so we can enter these scenes and see it from the people's perspective as they see it. So then we can apply that to ourselves, put ourselves in the story, learn something, be rebuked if necessary, be taught if necessary. You remember, like Pilate was told that he was sinning right now and had an opportunity to change, but he ignores it. We find that the 11 disciples run away, but today it's going to be about being foolish and slow of heart. So tragically, yesterday was scene number 10, and it was the resurrection story that it was delivered to the disciples, and they ended up being unbelievers and suspicious, even maybe even accusing the women who came to tell them that. So we have to cut them some slack, though, because the road from thinking that this is worthless, which is what they tell them, to traveling to worship is traveled as he opens hearts and minds. We're going to see that today in the story. So yes, I understand that the good Lord is the big mover in moving people from this kingdom to the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of the world to the kingdom of heaven. And if you're a believer right now, which many of you are, thanks for being here, and if Jesus is your Lord, and if you worship him without hesitation, then know this, that he's helped you, that he's extended mercy and grace and capacity to know him. So you certainly have a story about how you found Jesus, but I think he certainly also has a story of how he found you, how he pursued you. We're going to kind of see that here today in the story. So you have been pursued and sought and rescued, bought with a price on Good Friday, and he endured suffering for the joy of knowing you and being with you. But people have an agency and responsibility as well, and accountability. And some people are going to get nailed here today in scene number 11, which is the rebuke on the road to Emmaus. This is from Luke chapter 24, verse 13. On that very day, two of them who were going to the village named Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and they were talking with each other about all these things. So this is on Easter day, Easter evening. As they were discussing these things and talking, Jesus himself drew near, which is just beautiful, and went with them. But their eyes were kept from recognizing him. So two things. I wonder what it's like to have Jesus draw near to you. And those of you who are believers know this already. You cannot be a believer without help. The proximity and the pursuit of Jesus. If you're a believer, you've had a wind assist benefited. That's from John chapter 3, verse 8. And similarly, for those of you who aren't believers, welcome. Thanks for being here. Some of you are being hunted by Jesus right now, drawing you with intent. So if so, say yes. Humbly say, I humbly say, I don't know if there's people today that are being kept from recognizing, which it sounds like in the story. And if so, that's his prerogative and is certainly above my pay grade. But I do know this. He's gone through great trouble to help us to recognize him. Let's go back to the story, verse 17. And he said to them, what is this conversation that you are holding with each other as you walk? So it's going to this question stops them in their tracks, which is something that the questions of Jesus always do. And they stood still, looking sad. Then one of them, named Cleopas, answered him, are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know the things that have happened there in these days? And he said to them, Jesus asking him the questions, what things? And they said to him, concerning Jesus of Nazareth, a man who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word. So prophet, mighty in deed, mighty in word, before God and all the people. And how our chief priests and rulers delivered him up to be condemned to death and crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. So Jesus, by asking these questions, is getting them to betray the truth about what they believe about Jesus. And he's going to call them foolish in a moment and build an argument because they're building the argument for the wrong Jesus. Sort of this amazing Jesus, the special Jesus, but not Lord. And he's going to call them slow of heart. You could have done better with the information that I have given you. I have assessed your heart and found it, diagnosed it as slow, sluggish. You're bradycardic spiritually. So perhaps these guys would have come to real belief without this cardiac intervention of the Lord on this road to Emmaus. Let's continue. And yes, besides all this, it is now the third day since these things have happened. Moreover, some women of our company amazed us. They were at the tomb early in the morning, and when they did not find his body, they came back, saying that they had even seen a vision of angels who said that he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but him they did not see. So the men did not see Jesus. And he said to them, O foolish ones, O slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. So Jesus rebukes them and says, hey, step one, believe the Old Testament. I've given you everything that you need to know there. So you, listener, do you love the Old Testament? Do you soak in the wisdom of Joseph and recoil maybe from the foolishness of Lot? Do you cringe at the sin of David and admire his repentant heart? Then in step two, look at the data points you've been given. Then they even admit this. They know about the third day. They know about the empty tomb. They're amazed by the story from the women, who are trustworthy and faithful. They're not like a bunch of knuckleheads. Then they have the testimony of angels. And then they have the reports of the sighting. So by my count, there's at least 6 people who have seen the risen Lord. 10 if you count 4 others. So being slow of heart to believe. He's saying, don't be spiritually bradycardic. You can do better. Thanks for listening.